All right. Hello, everyone, and good afternoon. Welcome to another Step Into Monday. June is officially here. I just want to thank you all for joining. Even though the summer's already kicked off, I know a lot of people have things planned, and we tend to be all over during the summer months. So thank you for making being part of this part of Step Into Monday a priority for you. And since we are also in a new month, that means we are starting off some new programming for our program. June's theme is Fuel Your Journey. So we have lots of fun things happening this month, and we're so excited to engage with all of you this month. Um, and we hope that you will join us and learn and try some new things. We have a bunch of workshops that are happening, and you get points for those. We had one last week, and it was really great. It was a virtual cooking demonstration with one of the Harmon's dietitians. Super fun. We have another workshop this week on the 12th at noon for fueling a resilient mindset. So that's nutrition for mental health and everyday well-being. We've got another Harmon's cook that's at 12 p.m. on the 12th. Sorry, I'm not sure if I said that. The 22nd at 12 at noon, we have another Harmon's cooking dietitian demonstration. And on the 24th, we have a stepping into sustainable nutrition virtual workshop. So those are all at noon. And then we also have like a fun nutrient color focus this month. So week one, we're doing red fruits and vegetables. We're in week two now, so we're doing yellow and orange fruits and vegetables. Week three is purple and blue fruits and vegetables, and week four is green fruits and vegetables. So we hope that you will join us for some of these activities and try something new. And before we dive into today's topic, let's just take a quick moment to allow ourselves to pause and arrive and just enjoy this time that we're giving to ourselves. So go ahead and take a second, just drop your shoulders, unclench your jaw. If you're comfortable and in a safe place to do so, maybe even just like close your eyes for just a second, and we're going to take a few deep, calming breaths using the 4-7-8 technique. So go ahead and inhale completely through your nose for a count of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then hold that breath right there for 7 counts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then go ahead and exhale slowly through your mouth for 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Let's do it one more time. One more deep breath. In through your nose. 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale for 7. Hold for 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And exhale for 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Hopefully that's allowed you to have a little bit of a reset that you can go walk about and get your steps in, and also just allow you to be present in the moment, right here, right now. And let's dive in. So I want to start today's episode off with a quick question. You can raise your hand physically, virtually, just mentally. Have you ever felt like you've been personally victimized by a traditional diet plan? I think a lot of us have. I'm guessing a lot of us have been there at one time or another, right? Usually, when we're thinking of a new diet or nutrition program that's rolling out or rolling around, the immediate instinct is just to start making a mental checklist of all the things that we're suddenly not allowed to have. No sugar, oh, no carbs, just no fun. Um, but during this month, um, I want to take the short time that we have together today and just flip the script on that. Flip the script on how we talk about nutrition and how we think about nutrition. And I really think that's the goal of this month's programming too. Um, since most of us have felt the strain of traditional diet culture, probably at one time or another, we're just going to try and look at things a little bit differently. We're going to lead into a little bit of behavioral science instead of focusing on what we're going to be taking away. We're going to be focusing on addition. not subtraction. And then we're also going to dive into the science of metabolism and cellular biology, just to look at simple things that we can do to add to our day. No calorie counting, no restrictions, just some solid evidence-based habits that can help fuel our workday and give us more energy to help us ward off that 3 p.m. slump that I feel like a lot of us end up hitting from time to time. So let's look at some of that data that we can have and upgrade the fuel that we use to fuel our days and weeks. Our first science-backed addition is a concept called protein pacing. So to understand this and to understand why it works, we're going to look at our blood sugar for our glucose levels. When we eat carbohydrates alone, think of things like a morning bagel or like a pastry or just like a sugary or maybe a carb heavy snack that, sometimes we like to have, and that's okay. But when we have those by themselves, our body tends to break down those carbs into glucose, and it does it very rapidly. This tends to create a quick spike in our blood sugar, and then in response, our pancreas panics and creates a massive flood of insulin to clear that glucose out of our bloodstream, causing a drastic drop. So we get a big spike and then a big drop in our blood sugar, and that's what's known as reactive hypoglycemia. So in plain English, it's just that heavy, sometimes exhausted or tired, I need a nap right now feeling that a lot of us will get about 90 minutes after having an especially carb heavy or sugar heavy meal or snack. Luckily, there has been metabolic research that gives us some cool loopholes that'll show us how to handle that, how to address that. So studies have shown that if we eat protein right before or alongside with one of those carbohydrate heavy snacks or meals, it can totally change the way our metabolic curve looks like and the way our body reacts to those carbohydrates. So when we have protein along with our carbohydrates, it stimulates the release of a hormone called peptide YY. And what that does is it leaves us feeling fuller longer, and it slows down gastric emptying, which is just the fancy scientific term for how long it takes for food to leave our stomach. So protein, in this instance, is going to act kind of like a metabolic speed bump. So it's going to slow down the absorption of the glucose, turning like a really sharp energy spike into more of a rolling hill. That's going to help us to not have those crashes. So that's our first actionable +1 rule for June. We don't have to give anything up, by all means. If you want a snack that's a little bit carb heavy, or you want that bagel, or you want a pastry, or what have you, do it. I love that. Enjoy it. You deserve to have like those fun things. But just kind of pave the way. Keep in mind, like, oh, I want to maintain my energy levels. I want to make sure that I don't have that little crash. So maybe I'm going to have like a hard-boiled egg or a cup of Greek yogurt or some type of a protein before that, so that I don't run into that spike and drop that could crash my energy levels. Our second tip that we're going to look at is actually looking past all those macronutrients, looking past carbs and proteins and fats, but looking more at a cellular level for our body. So think of our body for just a moment like it's a car. And those carbs and fats are going to be like gasoline in our tank. And we need those. But then also to make that car move, we're going to need spark plugs. We're going to need the spark plugs to help ignite that fuel to get our car moving. In this analogy, those spark plugs are the mitochondria in our cells. I'm sure most of us probably remember learning in elementary school or in junior high or high school science that mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell. I don't know why, for me, that's one of the few things that I always will remember from school. but it just is. And so what our mitochondria are doing in this situation is they are helping us to convert the food we eat into a chemical molecule called ATP. ATP is literally the currency of human energy. If our cells aren't producing ATP, we're going to feel physically and mentally sluggish. Um, but here's the catch. To create ATP, um, our mitochondria, they are going to require some essential chemical cofactors. These cofactors are micronutrients. So specifically, that's going to be things like B vitamins, magnesium, zinc, and iron. So even if we're eating enough calories, we're getting in the carbs that we need, we're getting in the proteins that we want. If we're not having these micronutrients, we're not going to be able to get the energy that we need to continue our day. So to solve this, nutritional scientists have done extensive research and used and created a measurement called the aggregate nutrient density index. Kind of a mouthful, but it ranks food based on those micronutrients that we need per calorie. And right at the top of this scientific index are things like leafy greens and colorful berries. So our next actionable step, again, is going to be adding. We're not looking at subtracting anything. We're not looking at taking away the things that we're enjoying. We just want to add something. So adding something like a quick handful of spinach or kale. Toss it into whatever you're already making if that's feasible. Toss it into your pasta, toss it into a stir fry or even a smoothie. Or adding a handful of berries. Add raw berries into your oatmeal, into your yogurt, or just as a little snack. And so what this is going to do is it's going to give our mitochondria those chemical tools they need to generate the energy that we need for the day. So again, we want to keep this fun and we want to keep it light and good for us. So yeah, just adding in those little things. Our third tip and thing that we want to look at is actually like a hidden, kind of a hidden thing that people don't think about when we think about energy. And that is hydration. Dehydration is actually the hidden energy thief that affects almost everyone. If you're listening to this right now, it's probably affected you at one point or another. Most people are at least mildly dehydrated a lot of the time. So clinical hydration studies have showed some interesting facts in regard to this, even just like a loss of 1 to 2% of our body's water results in immediate mild dehydration. And now looking at that 1%, that doesn't sound like a whole lot, but neurologically, it actually is much more impactful than we think. At just 1% dehydration, our brain starts to experience a significant drop in executive function. So things like our short-term memory, our alertness, our spatial awareness, those are all going to start to decrease at just 1% dehydration. So the physiological reality in this is that our brain tissue, even if it's just slightly dehydrated, it has to work much harder and expend more stress hormones to achieve the exact same cognitive output as if we were more hydrated. And another interesting thing that came up in the science is that most of us in the morning, we wake up in this state. We wake up mildly dehydrated. At that point, we've gone 7 or 8 hours without a drop of water, and our cells and our body is just metabolically parched. It's still been running its processes in the background, and it needs that water. So, and then a lot of us, the first thing that we do in the morning is that we pour ourselves a cup of coffee, or maybe give ourselves a tea, or sometimes even it's an energy drink, to try and like combat that sluggishness. But at that point, we are pouring a diuretic onto our already dehydrated system. So we might get like a jittery spike, but that isn't true focus. It's not really giving us energy. It's just the chemicals, the caffeine in those things, and our body's stress response to masking that dehydration. So our solution for that is what they call front-loading hydration. So an actionable goal or tool that we can do is place a glass of water on our nightstand or right next to our sink. So first thing in the morning, just make sure that before we do anything else, we're going to drink that glass of water and volumize ourselves, give them that hydration that they need. Let our brain get nice and and plump with the moisture that we're giving it. And it's crazy what the data says on how that can clear that morning brain fog that we feel. A lot of times it's just dehydration. And those are our 3 tips for this month. Our 3 tips for maintaining good energy and fueling our journey. So again, we want to protect our glucose curve by, instead of taking anything away, just, adding protein to our carbs, supplying our mitochondria, providing that cellular spark plug to our vehicle that is our body, and just, adding a handful of greens or adding a handful of berries, and then protecting our cognitive performance by making sure that we are staying hydrated and drinking a glass of water first thing in the morning and also throughout the day, because we can lose water throughout the day as well. So again, notice we don't want to take anything away. We just want to add a few things and look at the science behind that and how that can help us to be happier and healthier and be more successful in our day. Thank you so much for tuning in, friends. I hope that this gives you some tools and some thoughts to be able to fuel your journeys wisely and to take care of your body and yourself. I hope we have hope you all have an incredible day and a high energy June. I hope to see you all again real soon. As always, we at Employee Wellness are here for you. So if there's any topics that you want to hear about, send us an email or send me a message or send me an email directly. EmployeeWellness@saltlakecounty.org or Cody Ryan or Cody.Ryan@saltlakecounty.org, or you can find me on Slack or Teams. WebEx or Teams. Yeah, and I would love to address things that are important to you. So thank you so much for joining us, and I hope that you have a great rest of your day, and I hope you were able to get some steps in. Have a good day, everybody.